Okay. So this afternoon, no, just this morning, the second session, we were examining or analyzing as to what constitutes the cause. So what is that border? To say this is the cause and this is not the cause. How would you demarcate the two? This is the question we discussed. If we turn to page 11, reference number 23, stanza 27. So then it delineates what the cause is, what the definition of the cause is. It says, the soil and so forth, when the nature changes, the shoot is known as cause. To produce shoot is known as cause. Upon making them fertile, the features of the results are seen. Okay, let's say that you have a seed on a table. You have an apple seed on the table, and then the environment is conducive for growing apples. And we also find the soil there. And say, when do you think this soil will be the cause of the apple? So let's say, okay, otherwise let's put it like this, to make it very straight. Let's say that there's apple tree here. And this apple tree this small tree. This apple tree, when did it come into being? Last year it was not there. Last year the apple was not here. Apple tree was not here. And now there's apple tree, although it's a small sapling. It was not there. Then the Viron, the one who is taking care of this place, would say that you planted this last year, which means that there was a seed, and there was a soil there. So this soil had been existing. This soil had been existing for say 20, 30, 40 something years, or 50 years, or 100 years. But this soil never gave rise to this apple tree till this year. So which means that somewhere it became the cause of the apple tree. Before that it existed, but it had nothing to do with the apple tree. So last year we put the seed there in the soil, water was given, then from the seed apple is to grow. Apple tree is to grow. So then, because of all these factors come together, then some change is happening, change towards growing the apple tree. Change towards growing the apple tree. It did not remain static there. So from that point where the change happens, so this change is taking you closer towards the apple tree. For example, if you don't put effort, we stay like this, no wisdom of emptiness, no bodhicitta, no matter what we do, we will not get closer towards the Buddhahood. Even if it takes 2 lifetimes, 100 lifetimes, eons and eons, we will never go closer towards the Buddhahood. So when you see that something's moving towards the Buddhahood, at that point, the cause has started. Cause means to give rise to the effect. So there's some change happening which is taking that particular object closer towards the Buddhahood, closer towards the apple tree. That is the cause. So it says the soil and so forth, when the nature changes. Soil existed way 100 years ago, but then by planting the seed, water comes to being, then some change start to happen to germinate the seed. So any change that happened which contributed to the germination of this seed, from that point onwards is the cause of that apple the tree. Not before that. The soil and so forth, when the nature changes to produce the shoot is known as cause. Upon making them fertile, the features of the results are seen. Now, for example, okay, let's say a child not sent to school, when will this child, without sending to school, without giving any teachings or any the lessons, education, when do you think this child will become complete his or her the BA, MA, PhD? No, if the child keep it like this, you'll never finish PhD, or will never complete, and will never do the PhD. Whereas if you start sending the child to the school, class 1, this is what guarantees that the child will go to class 2. Class 2 will 3, 4. This is the moment you send the child to the school, that is what takes the child closer and closer towards the completion of BA, bachelor's, so some may do BSc. So bachelor's, master's, MPhil, PhD. So without sending the child to school, okay, as the child grows, once you send the child to school, as the child grows, okay, now the child is going closer and closer towards the completion of BA, completion of MA. You agree with me? If you don't send the child to school at all, okay, 1 year passed, now the child is closer towards MA. Yes, no? If you don't send the child to school, however many years lapse, it is never closer towards BA or MA, which means that if you don't send the child to school, then the course for the child to complete BA and so forth is not at all being created. So these are not the courses. So the moment you send the child to school, then it is, this is conventional. How we know that? We know that. If we send the child to school, then the child automatically, okay, now the child is completing class 10. Now completing BA first year, second year, third year. So this is, by this number of years, like 8 years, he or she will complete the PhD. So where this process is happening, this is known as the cause. Where this process is not happening, there's no cause. So this soil, later becoming the cause of the apple tree, for the last 100 years or 50 years, this had nothing to do with the giving rise to the apple tree. So that was not the cause of the apple tree. Only when these factors come together and some changes start to happen on the seed, that is when it becomes the cause. Okay, this is the demarcation. Then you can freely discuss more. What about, okay, let's say Buddha Shakyamuni. Buddha Shakyamuni, he's achieving Buddhahood. Is it because of his being in 6 years of practice? Yes. Is it because of his leaving the palace? Yes. Is it because of his, the merriment in the palace? Because that was the first moment. Then the next left, the merriment in the palace. Is this a cause? No, merriment has nothing to do. Merriment, all the boys and girls in the palaces. So many palaces, what do you call it, kingdoms were there in this world in those days. Oh, no one is heard to have become Buddha like this. Only this Prince Siddhartha had become Buddha. And then Mahavir, I learned that he was also a prince. Anyone who knows about Mahavir, the Lord Mahavir or Jainism? You don't know. I heard that he was also a prince. Okay, so we see that there were so many princes there. All merriments. The merriments doesn't guarantee that the person will go to his Buddhahood. It doesn't guarantee. So merriment is not. And then the mother of so many princes, they also have the mothers. No, then the apples? No. Right? Okay, so we see that any factor, you look at it, okay, now this person going towards this direction, towards the Buddhahood, or towards awakening. That factor is the cause of the enlightenment, not others. Likewise, we can say, okay, but still, you go into more discussions, exploration. This will greatly help us to articulate our thinking as to what constitutes the cause and effect. Okay, good. 28. Okay, now 28 is a debate by the opponents, where we said that if the agent whose influence is responsible for creating everything. If this agent, we rejected by saying that, Acharya Dharmakirti rejected by saying that this agent, if it is to be permanent and independent, cannot be caused to any other factors because it does not undergo any change. To give rise to a result, that object must undergo change. If it does not undergo change, then it cannot give rise to the result. This is how it was rejected. Now they are coming up with a very strong debate, extremely strong debate. Okay, well, how many of you think that you agreed with Acharya Dharmakirti? Okay, whatever, yes, will there. It doesn't matter, right? We don't care what debate comes. Okay, debate is very strong. Okay, what is that? Let's read 28. Since object and the sense source are not different when in collection. Okay. What is there? What is my left hand? How do you know that there's a flower in my left hand? My eye consciousness can see that. Okay, so find your eye consciousness, decided that your eye consciousness is the one which says that there's a flower there. So this eye consciousness, what we learned earlier was that this sense consciousnesses, for them to arise, eye consciousness arise, we require 3 causes or 3 conditions. What are the 3 conditions? The first one is the object. Without the object, if I keep this flower away, you will not see the flower. So the object must be there. And then you must have the eye sense power, like the eyeglasses. Eye sense power is required. If the eye sense power is missing, then, for example, you close the eyes, eye sense power becomes meaningless. Then no matter the object is close by you, you cannot see that. Eye sense power must be there. 2. Then, say, if you are fast asleep, your mental consciousness is just dissolved or become very subtle there, then again the eye consciousness cannot arise. So there we need the object, eye sense power, and the immediately preceding consciousness to support that. Three things are required. So now 28. Since the object, the flower, at a sense source, your sense power. And then number 3, the immediate preceding consciousness, 3. Okay, these three, and particularly the object and the sense power. Sense power is your glasses. So these two are not different when in collection, when in isolation, meaning that this flower, when you're not looking at it, okay, here, this flower here to my right hand, when you look at it, when you don't look at it, what's the difference with the object? When you look at it, it becomes more blue? No, it's the same, right? Object is own change happening, but besides that, but looking at it, for example, say some people, when somebody looks at you, that becomes scared. When it doesn't look at you, you become more relaxed, right? So the stare affects the person, but the flower has no effect. You look at the flower shrinks, and then you don't look at the flower, again expands. No, it has no effect there. So the flower, the object, whether combination with other factors in collection, combination with the other 2 factors making 3 coming together, and then serving as cause to the eye consciousness. And this flower, when in isolation, not as the cause, there's no difference. You do agree with me or not? Huh? If you say yes, you are saying bye-bye to Acharya Dharmakirti. Right? Because Acharya Dharmakirti says that the cause, how he defined it, is there should be change happening. If there's no change happening there, then this is not a cause. You getting it? There should be change happening there. If the change is not happening there, it is not a cause. Change, what change? Not the change in the form of every all-composite thing simple. Not in that sense. A special change should happen. Okay. Since the object and the sense source are not different when in collection, from in isolation. So comparison is between the causes when in collection and these causes when in isolation. So the flower, the object, and the I sense power, there's no difference, right? Okay, your glasses, from those who put on the glasses, right? Okay, you close your eyes and you open your eyes. Is there any difference to the glasses? Yes, no? Okay, the Alex is very sure, no change, right? Okay, anyone else? There's no change, no change. With the glasses, without glasses, they say with you close the eyes, then with the glasses, open your eyes, the glasses, there's change or no change. Forget about the change in general, impermanent. That is, keep that aside, right? Otherwise, with open eyes, then the glass becomes more blue or whatever. It happens, no change. Likewise, the sense power. Sense power and the object of flower, when these two come together, there's no change. Come together, we call it as cause. When they're in isolation, we say that these are not the causes. This is how you put it. So therefore, the agent, although it does not have any change, when in connection with the other factors, it is a cause, although it does not change. When in isolation and in the collection, this agent does not have any change. Still, it can be a cause. What's the problem? So Acharya Dharmakirti reject by saying that agent, when in collection, whatever, it does not undergo any change. Because it does not undergo any change, it is not a cause. So now we see that the flower and I sense power, they also don't undergo any special change when in collection, something different from in isolation. So how can they be the cause, right? Okay, so if this is still a cause, then why not that agent also, which is not undergoing change, can also be a cause? This is the debate. Okay, this is a very strong debate. Okay. 28 once more. Since the object and the sense source are not different when in collection as opposed to in isolation, and are still other causes for consciousness, our consciousness, likewise is this creator or the agent, if you assert means opponents, if this is how you say, okay, it is not tenable as differences, it is not tenable, it is not tenable. What you said is not true. It is not tenable, meaning what you said is not true, as differences of clarity do exist in them. So for example, the I sense power, when it comes in contact with the object like the flower, then the I sense power, okay, the I sense power, it is, we can give the example like the crystal. I sense power is like the crystal. So when you place the crystal on the blue cloth, this crystal will assume what color? Blue color. When you place it on the red, it will assume the red color. When you place it on the flower, it assumes the flower color. So, therefore, if you place this on the very dull color, it assumes a dull color. If you place it on a very clear color, it assumes very clear color. So, the I sense power is like this crystal. So, depending on what object it comes in contact, accordingly, it assumes the aspect of that, the object. So, this is change happening. The clarity meaning sometimes when the object is dull, then the crystal I sense power can take the form of a dull color. And when it's very clear, I sense power will take the color as a very clear color. The clarity, non-clarity, all these things happen when it comes in contact with the object. There is a change. Clarity do exist in them when sense sources and so forth are in collection. Collection meaning when they come together. 29. If the individual causes, which by themselves are impotent or devoid of potentiality to give rise to when these, what we call as causes, if we put them separately in isolation, keep them apart, then they will never give rise to the result, however long it may take. So these are not causes. So they are devoid of the potentiality to give rise to the effect. Are not different in nature when assembled. Okay, are not different. Okay, if the individual causes, which by themselves, individual causes, if you keep them in isolation, their nature, you keep them in collection, their nature, if there's no difference, if the difference is just the same. In collection, their nature is as same as when they are in isolation, which means these are not the causes. If, okay, since the object, no, where is it? If the individual causes, 29, if the individual causes, which by themselves, impotent or devoid of potentiality, are not different in nature when assembled. When assembled and when in isolation, if there is no difference, they should have no potential to give rise to the effect, which means that they are not the cause. They should have no potential to give rise to the effect. Okay, this is the basic principle of Acharya Dharmakirti. Now, as they do acquire potential when assembled, the moment we brought them together, they acquire the potential to give rise to the change. As they do acquire potential when assembled, the difference is established. The difference between them in isolation and them in collection. There's a difference. In isolation, you keep them separately. Seed here, the soil here, water here, like this. You keep it like this. You keep it for 1,000 years. It will never give rise to. It will never give rise to the apple shoot. Put them together. In few weeks' time, apple shoot will come out. So there's a difference. There is a difference there. As they acquire potential when assembled, the difference is established between the causes when in isolation and in collection. 13. Therefore, the factors which are impotent or which are devoid of potentiality in isolation, yet upon collection, features of potency, features of potentiality for arising turns feasible. These are the causes, and not the agent and so forth, which do not have any change in collection. Okay, the next line. Next bit. As they possess, they referring to what can bring no change, as they possess no different features upon collection. When they are in isolation, nature, one nature. When in collection, nature. These two natures, if they are totally same, then it has no potential to give rise to the effect. In which case, it is not the cause of the effect. Okay, luckily we're done with this. Then now we go into the crux, the essence. Reference number 24. So thus far, what is being discussed is transformed, right? The one who has transformed into the reliable guide. Reliable guide, motivated by, the two lines. The one who has transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit all sentient beings. The teacher, Sugata, the protector, I make prostrations. Okay, these two, thus far, up to stanza like 23, what is discussed, the reference 23, stanza 30, what is discussed is this transformation, the one who has transformed. What does it mean by transformed? Why? For somebody to be omniscient being, to guide you towards the ultimate happiness, or the state of the fearlessness, nirvana, Buddhahood, that being, that guide, known as the omniscient one, should be someone who has transformed, who cannot possibly be like that since time immemorial. Must be somebody who was once not the enlightened, and then transformed, produced, or being impermanent, and then because of impermanence, the changes occurred, and eventually they become the enlightened being. Right? And then for us, we have been going change since time immemorial till now or not? We have been undergoing change? That transformation has been taking place? Now we have become the reliable guide? No, because we have not been the cause of even the change has been happening, but we have not been the cause of the enlightened being. Because it is like the seeds in isolation. Seeds and all the causes put in isolation, they never give rise to the effect. So they should only when they come together, which happened to Prince Siddhartha, driven by the what? Motivated by the altruism. From there it started. From there it started. So this, although we have been undergoing change along with the Prince Siddhartha, but he became the Buddha and we became the ordinary being as we are now. It's all because we could not put together all these factors together. We only kept all of them in isolation. When in isolation, we never come to become the reliable guide. So now what we have to do is that we have to put them together. So how to put them together? Initial trigger to put them together is the altruism to benefit all sentient beings. This is the initial journey. This is the initial journey for enlightenment. Okay. Reference number 29. Second, establishing the one who knows the reality of all phenomena as the omniscient one. Now, what do you want? I want somebody to take me to nirvana, and I want somebody to take me to Buddhahood. Nirvana is what? The state of fearlessness. Buddhahood is what? The state of infinite happiness. This is what we are seeking. If this is what we are seeking, then I need to guide somebody who knows these two things so well, along with the means to reach there. Establishing the one who knows the reality. Because we come to realize that how this Prince Siddhartha undertook this journey is the journey by looking for what is to be taught. What is to be taught? Why he was looking for what is to be taught? Anyone? Driven by the motivation, motivated by compassion, altruism, he was looking for what? He was looking for what he is to teach. What is that thing which he is to teach? Anla, what? Anil, what did you say? The truth. Which hand? Wisdom of emptiness. The union. Four Noble Truth. Anyone? What is that thing to be taught? Reality. Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Let's say why the reality, truth, Four Noble Truths, the wisdom of emptiness, and so forth. Why this is to be taught? Why he's looking for this concept to be taught? Why?
Cessation of suffering. Cessation of suffering.
To bring forth the cessation of suffering in others. How the cessation of suffering happens? Because of this. Because of this knowing the reality. How? Oh, because the suffering which we don't like, we have to track the cause, the origin. What's the origin? Ignorance. Which ignorance? Ignorance which does not know mathematics? Or ignorance which does not know how to cook? Which ignorance? Self-grasping ignorance. Very specialized ignorance. Self-grasping ignorance. Okay, now it makes sense. Finally, motivated by the altruism to benefit all sentient beings. To benefit all sentient. How should I benefit the beings? Remove their fears, remove their samsara, take them to the fearless state of fearlessness. Take them to the state of infinite happiness. How? What they have is samsara. What they have is miseries. I should get rid of them, and then this getting rid of that, the fear, becomes the nirvana or Buddhahood. How to get rid of this fear? We track the cause of the suffering. Ye dharma hetu prabhava. All these phenomena arise from causes. We have to track the cause of suffering. And the cause of suffering, tracking it, we discover that all suffering, they come into being by contaminated karmas. Contaminated karmas arise from afflictions. And afflictions arise from inappropriate attention. Inappropriate attention arises from self-grasping ignorance. Okay, this is how. Now things are becoming more, they say, solidified. Self-grasping ignorance. Now, only if we get rid of the self-grasping ignorance, we can think of getting rid of all the sufferings from the sentient beings. How to get rid of the self-grasping ignorance? By introducing the counterforce. What is the counterforce of the self-grasping ignorance? The wisdom to know the reality, the wisdom to know the truth, the wisdom to know the emptiness of objective existence. Emptiness of objective existence. This is the wisdom that has to be instilled in the minds of sentient beings. How to instill this wisdom in the minds of sentient beings? How? By giving them blessings? Teaching. It's only through teaching. So he or she has to become the teacher of the wisdom of emptiness. This is how it's connected. Now, we are reading this, reference number 24, page 12. Second, establishing the one who knows the reality of all phenomena as the omniscient one has three parts. One, the reason for aspirants of liberation, meaning that who seeks liberation from samsara, the reason for them to seek the omniscient one as the reliable guide. For us, we have to seek the omniscient one as the reliable guide. Right? Does it make sense to us? Hey, it makes sense to us, reasons that the reason for aspirants of liberation, I don't want the headache of the suffering. I don't want the headache of the sickness, aging, death, anxiety, stress, tension. It's too much, right? It's too much, and the death is so scary. And after next life, so scary. So it's a big headache. I don't want these. I want somebody to teach me how to get out of this. So who are going to seek? What kind of help you're going to seek? So that is the omniscient one. And questions are there. But omniscient one, where should I go? Where's the omniscient one? All these questions are there, don't worry. Right? All these questions are there, which are going to be dealt with just individually. In great detail, all these questions will be dealt with. Number two, the mode of seeking the omniscient one as the reliable guide to the liberation. So if you want to seek the omniscient one as a guide, then how will you seek? Number two. Number three, identifying the omniscient one who suits the aspirant's wish to seek the aspirant. What is that omniscient one like? What should be the characteristic of that omniscient one? Number three. Reference number 25. So each of these will be discussed. So if you want to know the number two, where should we go? Where should we go? If you're happy with number one, now I want to directly go into number two. Where will you go? Reference number 26. Where is reference number 26? Page 12. Okay. So let's see. The number two. Number three is what? Identifying the omniscient one who suits the aspirant's wish to seek liberation. Okay, now number one. First, the reason for aspirants to liberation to seek the omniscient one as a reliable guide. So why should we seek the help of the omniscient one as a reliable guide, as your guide to take us to the full liberation? Why? Why should we seek his help or her help? Stanza 31. Is the argument by the opponents. Okay, look, all these questions which are coming to your mind as we are reading this will be dealt with in great detail by the following stanzas. The opponent's view, right? This is exactly what came to many of us in our mind. It says that the valid one, the Buddha or the fully awakened one, should be the one to cognize the hidden phenomena. So they say the Buddhahood, nirvana, awakening, fearlessness, infinite happiness. These are something which we have never seen. They are hidden. Hidden meaning we have never seen them. We have never seen them. If there is somebody who is to take you there, who can take you there, that person must know all these hidden phenomena. What are the hidden phenomena? What are the hidden phenomena? Nirvana, Buddhahood, fearlessness, infinite happiness. These are the hidden phenomena. Why they are referred to as the hidden phenomena? Because these things we don't see with our eyes now. You look at me, somewhere there's always some problem there, right? Somebody has sickness, aging, illness, all these problems are there. So we don't see them. So that person, if you really want to seek that goal, and you want to guide, that guide must know these places, these areas, which are hidden from your sight at the moment. That the valid one, Buddha, should be the one to cognize the hidden phenomena. And then the argument is, yet there is no reason to prove it. You're getting it? Opponents say that this is what you should be seeking, but there's no reason to prove such existence of such a being. Right? What you are thinking of is just a dream illusion. There's no reason. There's no valid reason to prove the existence of such a Buddha. Number one. Number two, and there is no one to exert consistently towards attaining that. Opponents argue thus. So even if such enlightenment is there, even if such a state is there, but who will put effort? Who Who will put effort? Gate, right? Who will put effort in all these? Nobody, right? We say if somebody needs if today's holiday, everybody's so happy, right? Everybody's so happy for what? Because I want one extra hour to sleep. We want sleep. We want good food, right? We don't want to put effort. Yes. Who will put effort? Who will reach to that level? Simply by, craving for sleep, craving for good food, and craving for pleasant weather and so forth. Impossible to exert effort to reach that level of, the spirituality or the evolvement. And there's no one to exert consistently towards attaining that state. Opponents argue thus. Okay. You happy? These are the real arguments. These are the real challenges that can come into my mind. Good. 32. The ones with doubt. Now, why should we? Why should we, the aspirants of? Okay, how many of us aspire to achieve the state of fearlessness? And how many of us aspire to achieve the state of maximum happiness? We all, right? Okay. Which means that you have to sacrifice a little bit of sleep. How many of you are ready to sacrifice all these things? Are you sure? Are you sure? Okay. So there was a king. And the Buddha, as a king, as a prince, he left everything, renounced everything, went into the forest, and then 6 years of austerity and practice, and achieved enlightenment. Then this Prince Siddhartha, or the Buddha, started to give teachings. He became a great teacher. Then there was a king by the name King Indrabodhi. King Indrabodhi, okay, on the surface, deeper meaning is very different. What is what's the behind scene? What's the reality behind? Unseen reality is very different. Or superficially, his approach was, wow, it's amazing. You are the prince. You are the prince. Now you become the full enlightened one. You are leading all these beings to enlightenment. It's amazing. I also want to become like you, but I cannot leave the palace. Right? I cannot leave the palace. I cannot go into 6 years of austerity. I cannot do that. Right? Then he went to the Buddha and told the full awakened one, please take me to the state of where you have reached without me having to spend 6 years of austerity, but be in the palace. Still achieve your state. Please teach me. Right? And the Buddha Shakyamuni, instantly transformed himself and changed into Shiriguya Samaja deity. And then he taught Shiriguya Samaja Tantra to King Indrabodhi. King Indrabodhi, within the very lifetime, in the palace, he achieved Buddhahood. Okay, don't expect that. We should not expect that, right? Right? So I said that this is the surface story. What's the unseen story? What's the unseen reality there? This King Indrabodhi already practiced all these renunciation, bodhicitta, wisdom, all these things in the past lives. He is just very ready to achieve that state. One. Number two, to disseminate this teaching of Shri Guya Samaja in the world, right? He had the responsibility. He had the karmic connection with Shri Guya Samaja Tantra. So therefore, to fulfill this aspiration, to benefit so many beings, to take them to Buddhahood, so he sought this, saying that, please teach me something whereby I don't have to leave the palace and still achieve enlightenment within this very lifetime. Then the Buddha taught Shri Guya Samaja. Why not Shri Vajrabhairava? Why not Shri Chakrasamvara? Why not Shri Kalachakra? The Buddha just taught Shri Guya Samaja. So there are so many deeper implications, so deeper, the hidden, the realities, deeper realities there behind that story. Okay. For us, the best is follow the Buddha's footsteps. This is the best for us, right? Those people like King Indrabodhi, those people like the Milarepa, their, say, the indications of being very special. Why special? Not that the Buddha nature-wise, we're all same. It's not that the Milarepa, who is the one well known to have achieved Buddhahood within a single lifetime, right? It's not that he's special, his Buddha nature is very special. No, his Buddha nature and each of us, our Buddha nature is just the same. Whether somebody is Buddhist, Muslim, Christians, Jains, non-believer, everyone has this Buddha nature, same Buddha nature. By no means somebody, he's a Buddhist, his Buddha nature is more. No, not at all. Oh, he's Jesus Milarepa, a very special being, and achieving life within a single lifetime. His Buddha nature must be very special. No, not at all. Everyone, this seed of perfection is the same. So why he's able to achieve enlightenment within a single lifetime? Not even full lifetime. I think he was about like 60, around like 60, when he reached like 60 or 70, he achieved Buddhahood. So at the age of like around 40, he met with his teacher and started to practice. Around like 60, 70, 60, he became the Buddha. This was the life story. So within a short span of time, he became Buddha. Okay, so the point is that these beings, just look at their biography, you will see that they already, all the seeds, water, manure, everything already planted from the past lives. Now this life is just ready-made to warm the food. What do you call this food? Hey, Malaysian, Singaporeans? Instant, right? Or everything prepared in the factory. Right? Your job is just to warm this up, heat this up, that's it. So likewise, this life is just for them to heat up, finish. Everything prepared from the factory, from the past life. So we did not prepare from the past life. At least prepare in this life, so that next life, you'll become a special one. Of course, this is what we can do. How the mind works, if you look at, also, I would say that now I'm 50, now hitting 51. So like, particularly from age 40, from there till now, 40, 45, from 45, 46, from there till now, just observing how the mind works. Our mind has a tremendous power. The only thing is that we need to know how to channelize them. It has a tremendous power. For example, let's say I meet with somebody and then I become agitated. Even this agitation, it needs energy. This mind has tremendous energy. And then I see something, wow, it's so beautiful, right? Again, to appreciate this, it needs a tremendous energy. And then the anger. All these mental states, these are the mental states, they have a tremendous energy there. We don't know how to channelize them. So it is through learning this psychology that we learn how to channelize the energy of this mind. It's amazingly powerful. And this, from how we see the small children, just you meet them, small children, some of them naturally, you don't have to teach anything. Some of them, they're very competent, very powerful, very competent. For example, in Israel, there's one boy, very young boy. How he comes to the house. How he comes is that he has two hands in his pocket, very confident like this. This is his style of coming. And there's the same, his younger sister, 1 year younger or 2 years younger. She's always, little scared, shy, very different. You just observe the thinking, their mind is very different. It's not just the neurons. It's not just the neural firings. This mind is very powerful. And 2 years ago, some of my relatives came to my place, and then her two children, two very young children, one The sister was, I think, aged like 5 or 6, and the boy, the younger one, was age 3. Then I gave both of them some edibles to have equal, the same size packets. And the boy, he already started to eat, open the packet. And then when they were about to leave my place, one packet is brand new, the sister's, who's the elder, and his one is already opened. And then he grabbed the new one. And the sister said, no, this is mine. He started to scream. He said that this is mine. And the mother said, oh, no, give. And then the sister gave up. Young sister gave up. Okay, she took the one already opened. And then, just believe it or not, this young boy, what he was doing, he was very happy. Now I got this new packet. So what he did, he was trying to caress the face of the sister, saying, it's okay, don't worry. He's already now happy that he got a new one. Now, to make sure that the sister doesn't fight with him, he was caressing the sister's face, saying that it's okay, don't worry. Where did this boy learn this from? He did not learn this in this life. So expert from the past life, no doubt. He did not learn from this. No, the parents, they did not teach that. Right? So expert, amazing. How this thought came to this boy. Right? So this boy is not a young boy. He was an old guy. From the past life. Guaranteed. And there was, again, I saw a clip from the WhatsApp. In the toddler's chair. In the toddler's chair. And the mother gave him some noodles. He looked at it, and the mother put it close to him. He looked at it and threw this. And again, the mother put something else, a chocolate or something. He looked at it and threw this. 3 or 4 times, whatever is offered, he looked at it and rejected. So unhappy, rejected. Finally, a glass of wine was put in front of him. And he looked at it, he was so happy. No, not a toddler. 100% he's not a toddler. He was I think, alcoholic from the past life. Guaranteed. Just look at this. Nobody taught this child. He was so happy, right? If you look at the minds of the people, observe the minds of the people, how the minds were. From there, you could infer many things. All these, what we are studying, would be so helpful to us to explore these things. On that basis, then, you said finally what travels to the next life is the mind. From this, you can easily figure out. Okay. Stanza 32. The ones with doubt in the mistakes made by confused teachers, in order to be careful in the veracity, in the precision, in the faultlessness of the teachings, seek those who are knowledgeable. So now, this is stanza 32 is the first point out of the 3 under the reference number 24. Did you get it? Stanza 32 is the explanation of the first point of the 3 points under reference number 24. What is that? What is point 1 of the reference number 24? The reason for aspirants of liberation, aspirants seeking liberation, to seek the omniscient one as the reliable guide. Because, say, when we meet with teachers, when we look for teachers, I want something. When we look for teachers, we see that, okay, the ones with doubt, say you are the one who is seeking the path, who is seeking the path to fearlessness, which is nirvana, Buddhahood, which is infinite happiness. And then when you start to have the ones with the doubt in the mistakes made by confused teachers, for example, say what we discussed was that majority, minimum like 50% of the human beings, their intelligence is not really used, so they decide. They decided in a very wrong way. For example, at the time of Buddha, just believe it or not, at the time of Buddha, the full awakened one was there. Full awakened one was there. He was giving the teaching. There were only about 100 disciples there. And then, in this congregation, Ananda stood up. Ananda stood up, and with great respect to the Buddha, said, the fully awakened one, referring to the Buddha, the Tathagata, you are the fully awakened one. The path that you show is the complete path, is the most meticulous path. But look at the number of the audience, number of your disciples, only like 100. Whereas close to where the Buddha Shakyamuni was living, there was a place there. There was a guru, a teacher there, whose number of students was like thousands. So Ananda asked the Buddha, why is this so? That teacher, what he was teaching is just really doesn't make any sense, right? Something to make people feel relaxed or whatever. So you got all these various gurus, some they will make people laugh. There are so many things. And then they are very happy. People are very happy, right? And then thousands come. And particularly if they charge money, more will come. Think that this will give us enlightenment faster. Right? Okay, so the Ananda asked this question. The Tathagata, Venerable, the Tathagata, the fully awakened one. Why is that? The path that you're showing is the path. Whereas what that teacher was teaching was just so trivial. Yet thousands of people are attracted there. Yet here, there are only about 100. Why is this so? This is a question brought to the Buddha. And the Buddha responded. The people who are connected with the real dharma, people who are connected with the actual, the means to take them to the fearlessness, to take them to the infinite happiness, this requires tremendous merit. Without a great merit, people will not even meet with this dharma, meet with these means to take them to the fearlessness, to take them to the infinite happiness. Because of this, the number is less there. Where, say for example, I don't know, what about the Singapore and Malaysians? They are the movie actors, actresses there. Okay, movie actors, actresses, for example, in Hollywood is very popular, right? One movie actress, they say, if His Holiness Dharma's teaching is there, and his own student, Richard Gere. If Richard Gere comes to the teaching of His Holiness, newspaper is filled. Right? His Holiness Dharma's picture is very small, and Richard Gere is bigger. Richard Gere attended the teaching of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. All right? So, look, why this newspaper? Right? Why this newspaper? Newspaper reflects the thinking of the people. Right? What the people need? People have to buy. Newspapers have to sell. For that, there should be people to buy. People buy only if the Richard Gere is there. Right? His Holiness Dalai Lama, okay, very good. Right? But Richard Gere came, right? And then, say, when I was in England, in Cambridge, the people, say the boys, girls, they come to me and they see me, and they must have been watching Richard Gere, and sometimes Richard is seen with His Holiness Dalai Lama, right? And the monks, so they come to see me. They don't ask me, you're following His Holiness the Dalai Lama. No. You say, do you know Richard Gere? This is a question. This is a question. So therefore, look, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Richard Gere, His Holiness is a student. Not only student. But then, the common people, right? If Richard Gere comes, no doubt, so many people will turn up, right? Look at the newspapers. Okay, so this is what was exactly happening at the time of the Buddha. The other teacher, right? For example, Mahakashyap, the first heir to the Buddha Shakyamuni, Mahakashyap. The first heir to the Buddha Shakyamuni. When Buddha Shakyamuni passed away, actually it should be Ananda who was the first heir. Ananda to be the heir. Because Ananda was highly learned, highly respected by the audience, by the people. And of course, the Buddha's own chief attendant. And he actually deserved to be the first heir of the Buddha. But the Buddha, when the Buddha was passing away, Buddha handed his authority or the appointed Mahakashyap as the heir. Who was Mahakashyap? Mahakashyap, before he became the student of the Buddha Shakyamuni, he himself was an incredibly great teacher. He himself was an incredibly great teacher. He had much more students than Buddha Shakyamuni himself. He had much, much more students. And then he being very intelligent and smart, and of course karmic connection with Buddha Shakyamuni, and came to meet with many of his students slowly went to Buddha Shakyamuni. And then he was very happy. Okay, if you feel comfortable with Buddha Shakyamuni, go there. And then he see that many of his even intelligent students, they also go there, go to the Buddha. I think Shariputra was also one of them. Then eventually he also wanted to meet with the Buddha Shakyamuni. He met with the Buddha Shakyamuni, then he had some exchanges, and he was so fascinated. This is the enlightened one. Then he became the Buddha Shakyamuni student. Mahakashyap. This is who he was. So Mahakashyap was appointed as the first heir of the Buddha Shakyamuni. Then Mahakashyap then appointed Ananda as his second heir after him. Ananda became the second heir to the Buddha. Okay, so what I'm saying is that how should we look for that reliable guide? Somebody to guide us towards the fearlessness and the infinite happiness, or nirvana and Buddhahood. So it says, the one with doubt in the mistakes made by confused teachers. Okay, very popular teachers here, there. What mistakes they make in terms of teachings, what mistakes they make. So you are really very serious with the path. So you see these mistakes and you are confused by the mistakes, seeing that these teachers themselves are actually confused. In order to be careful, in order for one to be very careful with the veracity or the precision, accuracy of the Buddha's, of the teachings, of the instructions towards nirvana and Buddhahood, they seek teachings, these people seek those who are knowledgeable. Knowledgeable in what? Knowledgeable in what you want. What do you want? I want the path to take me to nirvana. I want the path to take me to Buddhahood. Okay. Reference number 26. Second, the mode of seeking the omniscient one as the reliable guide to liberation. Now you should seek in other words, stanza 32 is telling you, you should seek the omniscient one. Number 2, how? Reference number 26, how? Second, the mode or the how to seek the omniscient one as the reliable guide to liberation. 33, therefore they investigate to see if if she has the wisdom to realize the purpose of the aspirants. What do you seek? Right? What do you seek? This is the question. What do you seek? What do you seek? I seek the state of nirvana. I seek the state of Buddhahood or the full awakening. I seek that. Which means that teacher must know these two so thoroughly. Right? You should seek somebody who knows these two states, nirvana and Buddhahood, and the means to achieve that so thoroughly. Therefore, they investigate to see if he or she has the wisdom to realize the purpose of that aspiration. What is the purpose? The purpose is to achieve nirvana, purpose to achieve Buddhahood. Purpose, the aspirants. That he realizes the number of the insects is not of any use for me. Meaning that person is awakened, he's very smart because he knows the exact number of the insects in this world. It's totally irrelevant to me, right? Okay, it's amazing, but no need to follow you, because what I want is somebody who knows the path, not the number of the insects. But on the contrary, how we the people they follow is very strange. Very strange, right? Very strange. Okay, let's say His Holiness the Dalai Lama is giving a teaching on, let's say, bodhicitta. And then there's another teaching a teacher giving empowerment. And many people will go to the empowerment, right? Because empowerment is more valuable than the bodhicitta. Okay, this is how we are totally confused, right? So when they said, oh, this is the one who knows the exact number of the insects in this universe, right? Wow, what a great knowledge, right? And then, oh, I need to know something about enlightenment. Go to him. Hey, what is enlightenment? This is exactly how many of the people follow. You getting it? Okay, this is what I've seen with my own eyes. I don't want to elaborate further. Okay. No shortcuts. Reference 27. Third, identifying the omniscient one who soothes the aspirants wishing to seek liberation. Point number 3, which says, now what if you are to seek this, if you are to seek the omniscient one or the fully awakened one as a reliable guide, what should that reliable guide be like? Stanza 34. The one who realizes what is to be abandoned and what is to be adopted, along with the means, is indeed accepted as the valid omniscient one. Okay, what do you want? Right? Okay, sometimes people say that, sometimes when I talk about, say, emptiness and the 3 levels of dependent origination, 5 levels of emptiness, very complicated things, some people, they say that, okay, so these will take you to freedom from all the fears of life and so forth. But some people, they ask this question. So what you're teaching is fine, but many people, they're not really interested in these things, right? They're not really interested in this philosophy and so forth. So what do you say? So I say that, no, I never called anybody to come to listen to my philosophy, right? If somebody comes to me, I will not teach philosophy directly. My job is, what do you want? If the person says, I want a cup of coffee, right? I will send the person to a cafeteria. Right? I'll not say, hey, listen, right? What do you want? Cup of coffee, listen, emptiness, bodhicitta. No, it has nothing to do with you. You're looking for a cup of coffee, okay, I'll send you to the cafeteria. If you don't know where the cafeteria is, I'll request someone to take you there. Right? If the person says that I'm looking for some medicines, I have, ulcer problem. Of course, I'm the wrong person. At least I can guide you. Right? There's a very good doctor there. Very good doctor there. You can go to that person. So recently, I met one venerable, the monk, who was terribly sick. So more than me giving teachings to him is to guide him to make sure that he is in the right doctor's hands of a right doctor, good doctor. That is more important. Okay, so this is how we should be. What do you want? If you want the fame, okay, I pay more. This teaching, we have to pay, like, the charge of the teaching is like, 10,000 Sing dollars, right? Oh, this is a bigger charge, so it must be better. You go there. If you want the fame, then go for the fame, it's fine, right? Whereas, if you want nirvana, if you want Buddhahood, then you should know what exactly is to be adopted. Nirvana, Buddhahood, what exactly is to be discarded, which is samsara and the cognitive obscurations. 34. The one who realizes what is to be abandoned, samsara, self-grasping ignorance, self-centered attitude, affliction, so forth, abandoned, and what is to be adopted, nirvana, Buddhahood, and so forth, along with the means of altruism, the means of the wisdom of emptiness, right? The means were already taught there in these 2 lines. What to be adopted, what to be abandoned. They were also taught in the 2 lines of the word of salutation from which text? The 2 lines of the word of salutation from which text? Pramanavartika by Acharya Dharmakirti. Okay. Along with the primarily means from the 2 lines we can take these means. What are the means? Motivated by altruism to benefit all sentient beings. Great compassion. And then the second, what is the second point? The teacher. What teacher? the wisdom of emptiness, which is to be taught. The wisdom. These two as the means is indeed accepted as the valid omniscient one. So anybody who is expert, who knows thoroughly of what you seek, nirvana and Buddhahood, and they means great compassion and the wisdom of emptiness, so thoroughly, somebody so thorough with this is what we should be seeking. Along with the means is indeed accepted as a valid omniscient, not the one who knows the number of insects in this world. 35. Whether or not one sees things at a distance, say, oh, he or she's the one who can see what is happening in America now, right? Wow, it's amazing. So usually what I say is that today, if I levitate 2 feet in the sky, like this, in the space, 2 feet, this gap between the seat and me, 2 feet. If I sit like this for 2 minutes, there's going to be traffic jam in the Chen Sui Temple. Guaranteed traffic jam. Right? BBC, CNN, everybody will come. And the audience, millions will flock. Guaranteed, millions will flock. And tell me finally, what do these millions of the people get from seeing me levitating 2 feet high in the sky? What do they get? They get only, wow. Why? What will this, in what way this wow will help this person? No, the person will again become hungry, again will have to go to job. Nothing, no change there. But people are so fascinated by these things. They are not fascinated by the wisdom and emptiness of bodhicitta. Wisdom and emptiness of bodhicitta, they say, okay, yeah, I heard it before. Right? I heard it before. Yeah, again His Holiness the Element teaching bodhicitta. Right? But if His Holiness levitates levitates like 1 foot in the sky, yes, people, this is how people just follow. Unfortunately. Okay, so it's at 35. So 34, 35, let's not forget these. 35. Whether or not one sees things at a distance, so what is happening in America and so forth, the one who sees the suchness is the ultimate reality. The stanza 35, page 13, second line. The one who sees the suchness as intended for enlightenment is relevant to you. If seeing distance is the valid one, is the reliable guide, then seek vulture as the guide. Vultures, they can seek distance, right? Yeah. Okay. Reference number 28. So therefore the point is, what is being taught here, the message is a great message for us. If possible, we have to implant that deeply in our mind so that in future lifetimes, we don't go off the track. Initially meant to go towards enlightenment, so desirous of going towards the enlightenment, and then you meet with somebody, take you off the track. Like, oh, this person can do this miracle, that miracle. Recently in again, the same thing I shared with you. Oh, this is so miracle. These temples are all in one line, right? All in one line. The map, if you look at the map, they're on one line. I said, what's so surprising about this? Right? What's so surprising about this? This is how they say that many people are misguided, misled. So in Tibet is a place where all these great teachings were maintained crystal clear. It doesn't mean that this crystal clear teaching, beautiful, very precious teachings are maintained everywhere in Tibet. That's not true. Many blind faith things are also happening simultaneously. For example, say, if there's in some spoon, and sometimes needles, long needles, they are twisted, right? This is a miracle performed by this saint. I said, this miracle is nothing. Today you put it in the machine will twist it anyway, with a great design, with the design of a human being, with the design of a flower, right? This saint could not make it a flower. It's just like a very, very crude twist. In the first place, whether it is really twisted or not is questionable. right? It must be done with so much effort, like this. And the disciple, they saw it later. Wow, initially it was straight, now it's become like this. This teacher said, and then everybody followed. What is that story? There's a story. A rabbit, the sky falling. Do you know this story? Huh? What is the story, Kim? Is this mic? Yeah, the mic? No, don't worry.
Is it referring to the story where the sky, the rabbit or whichever animal was under the tree, and then something dropped on his head, and then he thought the sky is falling, and then he started telling other animals one by one to say that, oh, the sky is falling, please, we have to get out of this place.
Yes, exactly the story. Thank you. How many of you heard the story? Raise hands. One, Elaine. Wow, nobody heard it. Okay, so the story is very simple. There was a rabbit. So the variation is, there's slight variation between the two stories. There was a rabbit there, and then the rabbit was under the tree next to the water, and the one of the, what do you call it, the trunk or what, the branch fell on the water, and it made a sound. What sound? Splash, right? He was so scared, he started running, right? There was the animal known as the splash, right? It fell from the sky, so we have to run. Then he met another animal. He said this, and the other animal, so scared, he also started running. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Where is that animal splash? Is this the sound of the water? That's it, right? So this is how we tend to follow. Now, if this is the tendency within our mind, the chances for us to become enlightened is so less. Because for us to meet with teachers like His Holiness the Dalai Lama is so rare. Teachers who can deviate with all forms of things very easy, right? And we can easily be deviated. So therefore, the imprint must be laid in the mind. We take these as a profound advice for us, that in the future lifetimes may I never be deviated by the people, by the fame and so forth, which direct me into a wrong path. May I always be directed towards may I always feel connected, attracted towards the teachers who teach us the wisdom of emptiness and bodhicitta, not anything else. This is the message that we need to take home. Okay. Reference number 28. Explaining how the actual body of the text starts. Actual body of the text starts. Okay. So from the 2 lines, the word of salutation from which text? Which text? The 2 lines, the word of salutation from Pramana Samuchaya by Acharya Dharmakirti. So there, thus far what we have covered is, say, the transformed, the one who has transformed. We have covered that part, and then transformed into the reliable guide. We have covered these two. These two, transformed into the reliable guide. That is the main thesis. Even the reliable guide is not fully established now. At the moment, transformed, that is covered. And reliable guide is you have to seek. And what is that reliable guide? We have to establish. How to establish? With the help of the 4 points following that. What are the 4 points? Hey, what are the 4 points? From the same 2 lines. Motivation of the altruism, or great compassion, number 1. Then the teacher of the wisdom of emptiness. Then Sugatha. Then protector. Okay, these 4 points. Let's see. Reference number 28. Second, explaining how the reliable guide originated from favorable causes, following the explanation of the meaning of the remaining 4 points. Altruistic one, teacher, Sugat, and protector. First, explain each of these 4 points, and then, on the basis of this, how can we establish that the reliable guide originated, or he came into being on the basis of these 4 factors? You're getting it? These 4 factors. Under this, there are 2 sections. Number 1, establishing how the omniscient one traversed meaning? Crossed or traveled. Establishing how the omniscient one traversed or crossed or traveled along the path to become the reliable guide through the proper sequence. If you want to add as the annotation, you can say through the proper sequence of the 4 points as indicated by Acharya Dignaga in Pramana, in the word of salutation of Acharya, the Pramana Samuchaya. Let me say this again. Establishing how the omniscient one traverses along the path to become the reliable guide through the proper sequence of the 4 points. Through the proper sequence of the 4 points, as indicated in the word of salutation in Pramana Samuchaya. Establishing how the omniscient one traverses along the path to become the reliable guide through the proper sequence of the 4 points, as indicated in the word of salutation of Pramana Samuchaya. Right? If you want to add Acharya Dignaga, you say Pramana Samuchaya by Acharya Dignaga. Okay, so the proper sequence, it doesn't mean that there must be some sequence. No. Acharya Dignaga, how did he enumerate? How did you enumerate these 4 points? First, motivation, altruism, then the teacher, Sugata, and protector. These 4 points in this sequence. Sequence as you see in the word of salutation of Pramana Samuchaya. Now the reverse sequence. Reverse sequence, there is no sequence out there. It's just you reverse the sequence the way it is taught in Pramana Samuchaya. First the Sugata, then protector, Sugata, teacher, altruism, then establish the reliable guide. This is second way. There are 2 ways of doing it. One with the forward sequence, other with the reverse sequence. 2. The first one is, first establish great compassion, then establish the teacher, then establish the Sugata, then establish protector, and then you deduce the final thesis. Therefore, the Buddha Shakyamuni is the reliable guide. This is one. Now, second part is, first establish the protector, then establish the Sugata, then establish the teacher, then establish the motivation, great compassion, and on that basis, then you deduce the Buddha Shakyamuni as the reliable guide. So there are 2 ways of doing it. Okay. The first one is, I'm reading this again. Establishing how the omniscient one traverses along the path to become the reliable guide. With the proper sequence is the causal sequence. The first one is the causal sequence. Causal sequence meaning that the first what? First is the motivation. This makes him to look for what is to be taught, teacher. And this, what is to be taught, he experimented himself, he experienced the Sugatahood. Having experienced the Sugatahood, then he goes out to give teachings, protect the beings. This is the causal sequence, the first one. Then the next one is not the causal sequence. Next one, reverse sequence is what? Reverse sequence is a sequence for us to establish or for us to gain conviction. Forward sequence will help us to know the causal sequence and also help us to gain conviction, but the reverse will give rise to conviction, not necessarily the causal sequence. Okay, first one says, establishing how the omniscient one traverses along the path to become the reliable guide. From being in the palace, then with the motivation of altruism, he left the palace, he left in search of what is to be taught, and then he experimented this under the Bodhi tree for six years, Sugata experience, and then he started to go out to give teachings to protect the beings. Okay, this is the proper sequence, number 1. Number 2, establishing the rationales. Okay, so this the reverse sequence. How do we go about that? That you're looking for a reliable guide, and somehow you come to hear about the Buddha Shakyamuni. Oh, there's one teacher who is so good and so forth. Okay, just for information, that once there was a boy and a girl. They were, it's a couple, a very young couple. And both of them, from their past lifetimes, they had a very strong inclination to practice spirituality. What spirituality? They have no clue. But some way from inside, they thought that what is this, the mundane life is something wrong. This is just misery. So we have to look for spirituality. And in those days, spirituality was also quite common. Whether it's complete, incomplete, wrong, right, it doesn't matter, but it's quite common. Then they were looking for, then both of them decided. So first they were married because of the force, by the pressure from the family, pressure from the society, they were married. And then both of them, because of the pressure from the family, so finally the parents, they passed away. Then two of them said, okay, now there's no pressure from the family, there's no pressure from the community, so we can now go our own way to look for our spirituality. So both of them left on their own ways. And this boy met with the Buddha as the teacher. And the girl met with a very strange teacher. And both of them, then after a while, maybe after like a few months or 1 or 2 years, somehow two of them met again. And the boy was very happy and very contented, very happy. The girl was so much into some kind of stress like this. And the boy said, what happened to you? Then she said, no, I don't want to go to spirituality anymore, she said. And the boy said, no, what happened to you? Come to my teacher. She said, no, I don't want to go to any spirituality. The boy said, you just come to my teacher. You don't have to stay there. Just come and go. And the girl accepted. She went there and she was so fascinated. This is very different from the teacher that she met. And she practiced Dharma and she became Arhat in this very lifetime. Right? Okay, so the point is that so now like this, how this boy took this girl to the Buddha Shakyamuni, and likewise many people, if you look at the story of the Buddha Shakyamuni, the life biography of Buddha Shakyamuni, you come to see that for example, Mahakashyap, that's interesting, Mahakashyap, he noticed that his students, they were slowly following Buddha Shakyamuni, and he was very happy. Okay, that's good. If you feel happy with they call Buddha Shakyamuni what? Gautama. Okay, if you're happy with Gautama, go with Gautama, it's fine. I'm fine, no problem, go with Gautama. This was what his response to his students. Then, coming to sense that many of his, even the very intelligent students, they also follow Gautama. Then the question came up, why he's so popular? Right? Okay, so he did not start with, okay, I want to follow path, I want to look for a teacher, I'm miserable. Don't worry, there was also somebody who was once very miserable and then became enlightened now, right? Oh, how? This miserable, how did you follow? Then he was miserable, then miserable by seeing the suffering of others, compassion, then he left the palace, and then he looked for the path, what is to be taught, then he experimented at Sugata, then this is how he became. Okay, and then one is inspired. Whereas Mahakashyap is not like that. He himself was very evolved. So he was so fascinated by the wonder, by the fame of this great teacher, Gautama. So he went there, and he was exploring. In what way he is so popular, right? Because he is protecting the beings. So, for Mahakashyap, it was not started by the Buddha's great compassion, but started from Buddha's giving protection to the beings. Okay, how come that he is able to give such a protection? Oh, unless he has this deep conviction inside, he cannot give this kind of teaching or the guidance to the very brilliant people. All my students who are very brilliant, they're all following him, right? So unless he has the deep conviction, nobody can convince these bright people. So he must have a deep conviction within. He was teaching, giving protection, deep conviction within, Sugata. What made him to have this Sugata? So first he looked for this path, the path which eventually were to give him this confidence. What is that path? The wisdom of emptiness. Wow, it's amazing. What made him, so in this world, nobody taught this wisdom of emptiness. How come that he's able to find this very intricate subject? How come he's able to find it? Of course, yes. He's driven by great compassion to solve the problems of all sentient beings. So he's not happy with the very trivial achievements. He's looking for the ultimate answer. He's just craving to look for the ultimate answer. So this was all, unless somebody has a great compassion, the person will not have the energy to look for such an intricate topic which was not taught by anybody before. Right? So he was motivated by compassion. So this is how, from protector, then Mahakashyap came to know about his Sugadhahood. From the Sugadha, he came to know about the wisdom of emptiness, the teacher. From the wisdom of emptiness, he came to know about the great compassion. Right? From this, wow, this is who this person is, who this teacher is. So therefore, he is the reliable guide. How he proceeded, what he is doing is exactly what I want. He is the reliable guide. One, this is the reverse order, right? So this we're going to do next year. Okay. Reference number 29. First, establishing how the omniscient one traversed along the path to become the reliable guide through the proper sequence of the 4 points as indicated. Okay, you tell me. You already know this. What is that? Through the proper sequence of the 4 points as indicated in the word of salutation of Pramana Samuchaya. Okay, very good. Don't be lazy. You always want me to say everything. Okay. This has 2 parts. The first part is what we're going to do this year. The second part, which earlier said the reverse order, this is what we're going to do the next year. The reverse order is extremely important. Last night I was having, WhatsApp message with my teacher, Venerable Geshe Dorji Damdul in South India, and he was so happy, and I know what will make him happy. If I say that we are doing the Pramanavartika chapter 2, he'll be so happy. Nothing will make him happier than me. Nothing would be a greater gift from him than us saying that we are doing this text here in the Malaysia, organized by the Singaporean group, the TBC, and the Malaysian TBBC or what, TBCC. So this is the greatest gift that would make him he was so happy. And somebody in America, a great physicist, a Tibetan physicist, a great physicist, he was so happy. He said that he never heard about this, that there's some kind of such a crash course, like for 1 week. No, he meant it. He said that it's so good to hear that. He was so happy. He's a physicist and also exposed to the Buddhist philosophy. While he was pursuing his physics studies, he was also taking the interest in the Buddhist studies, philosophy, and all this. So he was so happy. And my teacher, he was just extremely happy to know this. So the second part, which we're going to do next year, it has basically, the subject matter. So this year's subject matter is primarily about rebirth. Then on that basis, how the rebirth is possible through pure rationality, how that is possible. And then on the basis of this, of course, the teachers, Sugadha, then the protector. So this forward order, the sequence, proper sequence, all these will be dealt with. On the basis of this, then we deduce that the Buddha Shakyamuni is the reliable guide. So this is more to do with, the emphasis on the rebirth concept. And how this rebirth concept come to being will be discussed today during the second, the next session. How the rebirth come to being from these 4 points will be discussed the next session. And then the next year's part is say, usually what we study about Four Noble Truths, these things are okay, Four Noble Truths, the truth of suffering, suffering there are three kinds, the truth of the cause of suffering, and the confinement karmas, afflictions, so forth. So this is what we've been taught to us. But the rationality behind all these things, we never learned. So now, for the next year's the course, there is rationally establishing what are the Four Noble Truths, rationally establishing what is nirvana, rationally explaining what is the Buddhahood, rationally, right? So that is something so unique, usually we don't find in the other texts. This is the text, it's so precious. Okay, one. Number two, that particularly for the TBC, we have Vena here, and then organize the Sonamla there. So you have to keep in mind that the next year, who's entitled to come for the next year's course? Who's entitled to come to that? Is that anybody who did this year, the first part, of course you're entitled. And what about those who did not join us for this year? Even they're also entitled, because that is going to be, of course, for you it's going to be much more easier. Much easier as compared to somebody who is joining next year directly. For you it's going to be much easier. Okay, whereas for those, if somebody wants to join to the second half, that topic is very separate. They can do it. They can do it, but for them it would be best if they can listen to the course, the audio recording, video recording, whatever. If they listen to this, then this will make the next year very easy for them. So this is what I'd like to share with you. Anybody can join the second half. The topic is not really directly related to the first half, right? Of course, the Sugata, the motivation, then the teacher, Sugata, protector, what they mean, they are going to be already explained in the first half. And in the second half, the detail of what is Sugata, what kind of Sugata are there, all this will be studied detailed in the second half. Okay, so this is what the Venla, Sonamala, two of you have to keep in mind, in terms of, say, who is entitled to join the next year's course. Okay. 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 We'll do the outlines. They are very good outlines, very helpful. The reference number 29, page 13, reference number 29. First, establishing how the Omniscient One traverses along the path to become the reliable guide through proper sequence has two parts. One, how from the favorable methods and a wisdom. Method, okay, all these are what you can find in the two lines. Method referring to the altruism. Method referring to altruism, and the wisdom referring to the teacher. The teacher, which is to teach the wisdom of emptiness. Favorable method and wisdom, how from the favorable method and the wisdom, with these two as the causes, the results in the form of the two benefits. Again, the results in the form of two benefits also there in the two lines. What are the two results? Sugata and the protector. Sugata is the primarily benefit for the self. And the protector is the primarily benefit for others. Okay, two benefits for self and others. For self is the Sugata, for others is the protector. Okay, how the first two factors give rise to the second two factors. First two meaning the altruism and the teacher give rise to the Sugata and the protector. Sugata and protector as the effect, the result, and the motivation, altruism, and the wisdom of emptiness as the cause, as the causes. Number two, how the Buddha as the reliable guide arose or is established from these factors. Instead of causes, we can say from these factors. Okay, delete the causes, you say from these factors. Okay, just for information, it will be good. Particularly, I see that there are a number of the senior ones also. So cause, when you use the word cause, we oftentimes, in most cases, we think about the cause means cause and effect, right? So this word cause in Tibetan is gyu. Gyu. Gyu is a cause. But we should be very flexible in our thinking. So this cause can also be understood as a reason. As a reason. Not reason in the form of the syllogism, right? Reason meaning, okay, what is the reason to say that? What is the reason to say that he or she is the omniscient one? Because he or she has experienced the Sugatahood. So Sugatahood and becoming omniscient one, these two are simultaneous. These two are not causal. These two are not cause effect. But okay, we can, to put it more simply, let's say that what makes them to say that the flower is impermanent? Because it is composite, right? Being composite and being a flower, are these two causally related or these two are simultaneous? These two are simultaneous. These two are not causally related. Being composite is not the cause of something to be effect, right? So something to be impermanent. These two are, so that is the being composite is the reason given to say that the flower is impermanent. Reason. So reason, the cause in Tibetan is gyu. And gyu can mean both cause as opposed to effect. And the cause in the sense of, gyu in the sense of reason. Gyu in the sense of reason, gyu in the sense of cause. So both can be understood. So in future, by reading Buddhist philosophy books, if you ever come across saying that, okay, Sugata is the cause of Buddhahood, don't say, oh, Sugata is the cause of Buddha. This book is wrong. Because Sugatahood and Buddhahood, these two are simultaneous. The moment you achieve the Sugata, the moment you become a Sugata, you become the omniscient one. These are simultaneous. But if the book says that, okay, the Sugata is the reason for the person Sugata is the cause for the person to become Buddha. If that is what is said there, then the cause should not be understood as a cause-effect cause. It should be understood as the reason. You're getting it? Okay, this is how we should be more flexible. The beginners will say cause means a cause. Cause and effect, this choice is wrong. I remember that was many years ago, His Holiness the Dalai Lamas were giving a teaching on the commentary, the Acharya Dharmakirti's commentary on Acharya Dharmakirti's text, which is according to Prasangika philosophy. And the Prasangika's presentation of the philosophy and the lower school's presentation of philosophy, these two differ. And His Holiness were explaining something which is precisely in line with the Prasangika's view. And there were young monks, some young monks who were already trained in logic. So what they were studying is primarily according to South Tantric school, not the Prasangika school. So they said, oh, His Holiness said something wrong. Yeah, I remember it so well, because they are trained in logic. They easily say that you are wrong. Right? So, even His Holiness made mistake. No, what His Holiness was saying is according to Prasangika, right? And his study was primarily on South Tantric school, the Savatantra Madhyamika school. So what he learned is something, okay, this is what he learned. He never heard the unique presentation of Prasangika. So he thought what His Holiness said was wrong. His Holiness was wrong. Okay, likewise, when say that the text, very standard text, says that the Sugata gives rise to. Sugata is the cause of Buddhahood. Don't think of that to mean literally as a cause. It means reason. Okay. Okay, we'll stop here.